When exactly did you come up with the name The Horrors, and who?
When we started the band.
And when did you start the band?
That was about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, we were all together at the time. We were just sitting around going through a few band names. I think it's always a difficult one, and then the Horrors just seemed to fit us perfectly.
It was
more down to the fact that we were all called Horrors. You know, like you're a horror. What a horror!
Sorry, yeah.
What a horror!
Yeah.
It's kind of like yeah.
It's like our grandparents all used to call us that. We realised we had it in common. You know, if we like, I don't know, if we...
A name given to naughty kids, you're a horror.
Exactly,
yeah. Okay, but like you were horrors, all horrors in your teams?
We've all been horrors, yeah.
We've all been horrors.
Called horrors?
Yeah, by our grandparents.
Oh, why? Were you always different than other kids? Or?
It was usually, yeah. It's usually because we did something bad or we were up to mischief.
It's a name for a troublemaker or something.
Yeah, okay. And how did you guys get together? Because you're not all friends from...
I used to live about an hour outside of London, by the seaside, and I used to do a club night down there called the Junk Club, and we all met down there. Okay. So it'd be a place where there was always live music and DJs and stuff, just somewhere to hang out.
And what is it with you guys that matched? Because
I suppose we were all into very similar things. I suppose we were. There's not many people in London that have the same kind of interest as us. We're all really big record collectors, and I think the thing that joins us all together is we all like really wild rock and roll. You know, if it's 70s punk or American no wave or people like Bo Diddley, rhythm and blues, and I think that's the kind of music that joins us all together. So when we met, that was the thing that brought us together as friends, our shared passion for kind of rock and roll, I suppose.
Okay, and there's you say there's not many people in London right now like you guys?
Well, I think it was the fact that we were all in our late teens at the time, and most people were listening to bands that you can read about in every magazine, hear on the radio, and we, from quite a young age, spent our time searching through old record shops, going through the vintage stores, and going up to London and going to these strange kind of basement clubs and looking for places where you can hear good music, because I think you just get force-fed quite boring.
I think we're just into stuff maybe that isn't necessarily immediately readily available. Not for scarcity's sake, but more just because we're coming from a different. We have different mentalities to most people, I think.
Yeah. Can you name like one record or something that you all like very much?
It could be the Monks.
Yeah, the Monks album Black Monk Time is one that we all really love. Forward-thinking, creative garage.
It's kind of primitive punk rock.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the kind of style that you
I think it's not just about the sound or the style, but I think it's about the attitude. And that was recorded in 1966 by a group of German. Well, it was in Germany by a group of American GIs. But I think it's not just about that one sound, but it's about the attitude and the energy and the intensity of what's captured on that record that inspires us.
Sort of a punk attitude?
Yeah, it's just wild, I suppose. Wild and fuzzy and noisy. Yeah.
Are there other things like you're called the Horrors? Or is also something with movies or books or?
We're not huge horror fans actually. I mean, some of us kind of like B-movie stuff just for entertainment's sake. None of us are really obsessed, but Faris is more. I think you always talk about the more psychological side of horror.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really. Not really into vampires or anything, but things like Hitchcock and disturbing things like that, or reading about interesting people, like Karl Panzram, famous serial killer, or Rasputin, things like that, interesting stories. It's not really just about horror.
Oh, why is it so interesting to you?
Well, I mean, because it's an inspire. There's usually the characters that inspire me. Maybe make me think about other things. Maybe make me want to write songs. Maybe give me ideas for songs or sounds or whatever. That's why I find it interesting, I guess.
Okay, like serial killers or something like that. Can you give an example of it?
Well,
someone who you think is
Jack the
extremely...
Ripper is an obvious one.
Yeah,
well,
okay.
Karl Panzram, the guy that I mentioned, was a very famous serial killer, and the thing that set him apart from all the others was his complete disdain for all of humanity, and how, you know, his aim in life was just to kind of, you know, to destroy the entire human race, and that's what he wanted to do. And the reason I found that so interesting is just because he had such a focused, driven view, and he had a reason for doing what he was doing, rather than just being some madman that, you know, wanted to kill for the sake of it. He actually had a reason, and I don't know, when people have conviction, I find it interesting.
Okay, so it's really because he had a really strong idea behind it.
Yeah, and he was focused and determined and completely driven, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Do you admire that in a way?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the actual killing that I admire, but when someone's so sort of so clearly very intelligent and, you know, bent on using, you know, on achieving his goal, and I don't think I've really read a story quite like his anywhere else.
Yeah. Okay. And you also get inspiration from those stories for your lyrics?
In some ways, I mean, I've never written a song about that, yeah, but that kind of thing does inspire me to write lyrics, yeah.
Yeah, like a song like Count in Fives.
Well, Counting Fives is about a personal experience, about how when I was younger, I'd always count objects in fives and group things in fives and whatever, you know, until a number made sense in my head, and that's why I wrote that song.
Okay. And yeah, and a song like Gloves.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Oh, a similar kind of obsessive thing where I'd collect single gloves I found on the street and label them and put them in packets and keep them in my cupboard, and then I threw them away.
Is that the obsessive thing? Is that what you maybe recognize in, you know, also these serial killers you mentioned?
Yeah, partially. I mean, they're not always obsessive about it, but yeah, the ones that I find interesting are, yeah.
Could you, this is going very far, but could you imagine that you become, you know, in a bad situation and do serious stuff like that?
Yeah, I can imagine I could kill a lot of people.
Yeah? Can you explain that? Why
no, I don't know. I mean, I don't envision myself as a serial killer, no. No.
But you can imagine?
No, I was joking. I can't imagine myself killing a lot of people in a series.
Okay.